Good morning. It is January 11th. It's a Tuesday. We are in day 11, so we're starting our second set of 10 days for our How Will You Bring More Life to 2020 to your 2022. 31 days. We're in day 11. Oh my goodness. So, wow. This experiment is to bring what I teach and the strategies that I teach into real life, using them in real life, and actually talking from within a reinvention mindset, from within the Simple Shift system. And wow, I've never done anything like this before, and I am just learning so much. And of course, I'm back in my forest. I have this lovely tree that's just supporting me. Yesterday, each day I've had some breakthroughs. Each day I've seen something that I never saw before. And each day, because I've been looking, it's kind of been a wow day. So today was no different. A couple of things I realized that I think you may find useful. And that is, the first thing is that, when you're mad at somebody or you got some issue with somebody, you never work it out outside of a relationship. So you really can't work it out in your head. Even if you try to, you really can't work it out in your head. You have to actually engage with the person. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to engage with the person and see that person as a person. And we're all just human. So as I see my own humanity, as I get to forgive my own, hi Leanne, as I get to forgive my own challenges and foibles and flaws, then I get to forgive this person's challenges and foibles and flaws, because we're all just, in here doing our best. So this morning I had the great benefit of a breakthrough in a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a long time. I got to have it. And that's really gratifying. So then the other thing I learned is that, when you have a conversation that you want to have with somebody who you've, created rapport with and created, shared humanity with, and just kindness and love, they have full permission to handle it however they handle it. You forget that. We forget that. It's like, okay, so I'm going to say this and they're going to say this and it's going to work out this way. And that's not what happens. And so I got to be, live with that this morning, and I got to have another, wow. Okay. One more conversation for my Facebook Live, which has been actually so supportive and so gratifying. So that brings me back to one of my favorite things that I teach. I've been teaching people this for over 30 years. And here it is. It shows up right this morning. So here's a practical application for something that I call the gears. And so if you've never met me before and you don't know anything about what I do, we'll just start at the beginning for a really short thing. And that is, if you've ever ridden a bike. Now, I started this with driving a car with a manual transmission, but not everybody drives those cars anymore. So a bike is easy, because when you're riding a bike, you're going in different kinds of terrain, and you have different gears you can switch into. One gear to go up a steep hill, and another gear to go down a steep hill, and another one to go. So there's at least 3 gears in all these bikes. And so we have 3 gears as well. And that's what makes my circumstance and my situation and my wow this morning so cool and so useful for you. The first one is my experience. You've sort of been with me in my experience and working through those pieces and making each of those emotional states totally normal and totally okay. So when it happens to you, it's like, yeah, this is totally normal. And that helps us get out of, our brainstem. So we're safe. And this is good, even if it looks crappy, and now we can think. So that was a great thing from yesterday, and it's been helping me. So the gears helps me in another way, and that is to understand that there's always 3 perspectives of anything that's happening. So we've been looking at my perspective, and in my perspective, I had a really nice breakthrough this morning, and then, real life happens, and it got interesting again. But it was still a breakthrough, and I'm claiming that. And the breakthrough only happened because I was willing to create relationship, and I was willing to, bring grace and peace and love. And so those are huge things you can bring to anything, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's with a family member, wherever it is, whatever you're doing, those 3 things will help you every time. And they just help me now. So first gear is my perspective. Always true, always right, but just for my little planet. So it's not true outside of me. So second gear is thinking about the other person's experience, the other person's perspective, the other person's feelings and emotions, and how you're occurring for them. Most of us don't ever think about that because we're so immersed in our own, right? And so that's a juicy little gear to have, to think about, I wonder how that landed. And if it's not somebody you know very well, you're just making a guess, but at least it buys you compassion for both of you, okay? Because everybody's doing their best. And the third gear, which has really been helping me this morning, and this forest represents for me third gear, and that is the big picture. So if there was a bird in this forest flying overhead, the two of us in this conversation, and the situation that I'm dealing with in this project, that bird would see things that neither one of us see, that none of us who are in it see, because it's such a distance. So whenever you have any situation that you're working through or that you want to bring more life to, if you actually step back from it and look at it from a distance, it's not emotional. There's no emotion to it. You're just kind of, like watching a movie. Very, very useful. So the thing that I love about this Bring More Life is that you can use it every day in every situation. It's like you always have a choice. And so the first thing is, what needs to happen for you to be safe, okay? Sometimes when I'm in an overwhelming situation, I have to have my noise-canceling headphones so I can escape. Because as a highly sensitive person, HSP, we get overwhelmed with all the stuff that's going on. And we're emotional. So we're emotional, we're overwhelmed. Sometimes we're right here, and that's our trigger to get out and get safe. So we can think again, because actually, really, we can't. And once we get safe, we can go, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Even though it feels really crappy, it's okay. And that will allow us to get to our central cortex, our brains, I don't have the words right now. I had them like yesterday, but this is where your higher order brain function comes from. Your executive function comes from, where you can make choice and decision and actually choose to do things. So all that stuff is living in my world today. And all that stuff is available for you to take a look at and see how it will work in your world. So the thing that I appreciate about this is that it's getting to be like real life. Like when you first have a relationship with somebody, it's so exciting and wonderful. And, it's like, because it's so new and, what's going to happen. And after a while, you get to know them. You get to see how things are going. And it's like, yeah, that's how they are. We all do it. It's totally normal. And so I'm finding on day 11, it's like, wow, okay, I guess this is actually really who I really am. And I guess this is really the message that I have for everybody. And it's pretty consistent. It's not like there's not a whole lot of new things. There's just a set of practices and structures that you can bring to anything. Like you can bring to everything. And I think that's kind of cool. And I also know that part of this is ADHD moment. 14 things in my face. This is how we normalize things. So maybe when we first started this conversation, it might not have been normal yet. But now, this is a normal conversation that I have with you. And so what that brings to, I hope that I invite you to bring that to your experience, which is stuff that used to be like, what? Can get to be normal, especially when you choose it and it serves you. That's like so exciting to me. It's like you can normalize anything, and bad things have been normalized in our world over the last 6, 7, 8 years. And I'm not happy about that. However, if that's happening, we can normalize good things. We can normalize handling things. We can normalize getting in a difficult situation, keeping ourselves safe, taking a breath, giving ourselves some grace, finding our way as best we can, trusting that everyone's doing their best. I mean, we can normalize that. That's like pretty exciting for me. So today's our last day in this particular place. Our day will be different tomorrow. Hello, Monica. How are you, darling? And here comes a dog on the path. So I'm standing on this walking path, and here comes a dog that's very excited to be on Facebook Live with us. And off the leash of his owner, who's, thank you for that heart. So this is just real life happening around us. And once again, you're watching me find a place where I have joy. I didn't enter the forest in a joyful state. I was kind of, in a different state. But here's the thing. I can always change my state. I can always find a place of joy. So I was thinking about, what's it like if you're always feeling joy? Come on, I'll get off the path for you. I'm just doing a Facebook Live. Promise not to put you on camera. Real life is happening. Yes, it's okay. It is okay. You do not want to be on camera. It's okay, sweetheart. Go on, baby. Real life happening. What's I going to say? Oh, I forgot. ADHD moment. Take a breath. It's fun having you here with me. You can always shift your state. And I thought about, so what if you don't want to shift your state? Yeah. What are some circumstances when I did not shift my state and I stayed in the out of joy? So there's times when you it's a really powerful thing to not stay in joy, and that is, and I'm thinking about somebody, your parent dies, your cat dies, your friend dies, you lose something really big. It's not so easy to just go, well, I lost something big, and you actually have to really feel that for more than 90 seconds. And so the things that I'm talking about are just the normal everyday things. They're not those great, big, huge, where you have to go into the cave or the darkness you have to go into that place and allow yourself to grieve. You have to go into those spaces where it's not fun. And you have to know going in that you're going to get through. You're going to be okay. And so I think there are a lot of folks who don't like to necessarily go to those places because it's hard, and we don't have practice in it. And so what we're doing is we're kind of practicing this stuff. Brené Brown just wrote this really cool book, and I think it came out at the end of last year. It's called Atlas of the Heart. And what she found in her research, she has a different process than me, but we often come to exactly the same places. And what she says is that people really can't distinguish their emotions. So she writes this book, which is amazing. It's a gorgeous read. It's a really gorgeous read. And we come from a similar place. We both have alcoholism in our families. We are both children of alcoholics. And we come from that recovery place of building a person from the inside out. So I appreciate her so much, and I recognize a kindred spirit in her. And so what she's saying is, here are all these different emotions that you have to be able to recognize. And if you won't let yourself feel, you can't recognize the emotion. So I think part of what we're doing in this journey that we're doing for 31 days is actually getting into the emotion, letting it be okay, and also seeing what you want to do with it. So I have had times in my life where, you just have to let grief pass through you. And somebody just put something on Facebook that I thought was so gorgeous. Grief is love unexpressed, because that person is gone, or that four-legged companion is gone, and you have all this love left over, and where does it go? It's like it just stops. That was so gorgeous for me. So awesome for me. And it's a process. I got trees coming out of my head, Chuck Beatty. So, from my forest to wherever you are, live or in a replay, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. We're just exploring. I have no idea what's going to happen each day. I have no idea, what I'm going to discover. But it's so exciting to do it and to get to share it with you. So I hope that you found today's conversation useful. There's something in here that you can use. And I always leave you with 3 things. So let's see. So number 1, it's day 11. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. And I hope the conversation ultimately brings you joy. Number 2, everything you're feeling, no matter what you're feeling, is perfect and normal and useful as long as it serves you. When it no longer serves you, then you can choose something else. So grief is one of those things that serves you and helps you to heal and helps you to walk through and let go of something or someone that you've loved that you've lost. It's an important, and it's not moved through quickly or, with a strategy. The only strategy when you're in that is to just keep breathing. So every other emotion is yours until it no longer serves you. And that's what happened to me with this project. This emotion was no longer serving me. And so you've been on this journey with me as I discovered, well, what do I want to do with it? And you saw it took a month for me to get from to compassion, and or from that shift into compassion to here. And I'm still learning. So the same is true for you. Everything that happens you can still learn from if you're paying attention. And the third thing is, I challenge you to find a way to catch yourself having a feeling. Catch yourself having a good one or one that isn't, feels like crap. Catch yourself and just play with it and see if there's anything that we've talked about in these 11 days that will serve you as you explore your own experiences, your own emotions, and see how much fun you can have. At least how much learning you can have. So thank you for your support. I'm Maya Beatty, and I'll see you next time.